Okay. Alrighty. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. You know, that's why you shouldn't force things. The boys are back in town. I don't know where I know that song from. If I Googled it right now, I'd probably find out, but it doesn't even matter. Welcome to the Angry MGTOW show, or the Mellow MGTOW, as some may know me by. Today we're going to be discussing how modern women have lost their minds. This is a response to Lola, Mel and Lola. What the heck? Uh-huh. So before we jump into the video, I'm gonna challenge you guys. I want you guys to tell me something. I'm gonna show you a picture, and I want you guys to tell me, is this a man or a woman? So here we are, guys, and I want you to tell me that's obviously a man, right? That is obviously a man. I'm gonna ask you guys if this is a man or a woman. I want you to take a good, hard look at this picture, and I want you to notice that those aren't dreadlocks. This person's hair is just starting to stick together. Person's hair is just starting to stick together because it has not been washed or combed in a long time, or at least a significant amount of time. That's what happens when you don't comb your hair or wash it for the most part. It starts to stick together. So this person does not have dreadlocks. They are not trying to grow dreadlocks. They have just stopped taking care of their hair, and this is what's happening to it. Because when you when you get dreadlocks, there's actually a process that goes with getting dreadlocks. If you don't specifically, you know, ground your hair, then it'll stick together and look like dreadlocks, but it won't be actual dreadlocks. So let's go ahead and see what this guy has to say. Let's go ahead and start up the video and see what this gentleman has to say right now. Okay. Let's start the fucking video. Sometime now.
Hey guys, hope you're having a good day. Today I'm filming the much anticipated.
Holy crap. That's a chick. That's a chick. Holy crap. That's a chick. Well, yeah, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all. Didn't expect that at all. You guys have to admit you all thought it was a dude too, right? You all thought it was a bro. Yeah.
Car tour. Please excuse the fact that traffic will be going past throughout this video. There's just nowhere else that I could film it. If I filmed it, for example, at my place of work, it might come off as a little odd. So yeah, I'm kind of filming it where I'm parked up at the moment, just to show you how I set up my car for living in it. So let's get into it. This is the back of my Land Rover, as you can see, and this is where the majority of my stuff is. I'm just going to start off on the inside door, or as I like to refer to it, my library, as you can see.
That's her library. A bunch of books in the side. That's her library. Holy cow. See, this is what the modern American woman has no idea. You know, it's funny. A lot of these women, when Donald Trump puts them out on the street, the ones who have cars are going to get in their cars and they're going to just pile as much shit as they can as possible in there.
I've got a few books here. I've got my National Trust Guide, my English Heritage Guide from the Out and About. I've got Reading a Lady from Tehran, excellent book. Read it if you haven't done so. I've also got my...
So it's interesting. She said this was the only place that she could actually do the car tour, which is actually weird. Couldn't she have pulled into a parking lot, a Walmart parking lot, something else? And I mean, there had to have been a bunch of other places she could have pulled into, or even off the side of the road to do this. It's actually quite weird that she's doing the car tour right on the side of the highway. But women do the weirdest things. Unless she's living somewhere off the side of the highway, which would explain things, but then again raise other questions.
Shade for my back window in case I want to pop it up, and just some other documents that I'm keeping here. Okay, moving into the car. So in this corner is where I keep all my water and my squash, as you can see. You can never have too much water on the road, guys. Never ever run out. That happened to me once. It's bloody awful. What's also in here is my heater from my winter essentials video. Obviously this gets moved out of here when I'm parked up for the night, but during the day it just lives there. And what a lot of people are curious to know is about my clothes, and this is it. This is all my clothes. As you can see, I keep them in boxes.
It's gonna be hilarious seeing the materialistic women. Oh my gosh, do you guys notice that that shirt looks filthy? Like, look at the pink shirt. Just like look at that pink shirt. That thing looks filthy. It looks. I mean, maybe it's just the angle of the camera, but it looks like it's covered in dirt, like brown dirt. Oh my gosh. And this is the way modern women shall be living.
Sort of separated out. For example, in here is clothes I'd wear for work, clothes for weekend.
That shirt, that dirty shirt, is the clothes that she would wear to work. Like, I mean, seriously, where does she work? Does she work in some type of like? Where would you wear dirty clothes to work? Does she work in a coal mine? Even in a coal mine, usually people show up wearing clean clothes, and then you get dirty. You don't just go into a coal mine wearing dirty clothes.
And
I'm just kind of scratching my head on this whole thing.
in here I have my towels, and I also have my night clothes. The towels are really useful because when I'm parked up during the day, obviously I don't really want people to see, so I can just put my towel across and no one really knows what's in here. And my laundry egg from my video on handy items to have, just so it's there ready to go take dirty laundry. I don't have any today because I've just done it, but when I do, I just have a kind of trash bag in this area where I take my sort of clothes off and get changed and throw it in there, and then that comes in to the laundrette with me once a week. You can see here, that's where I've got my boots. I don't have any other shoes with me at the moment other than ones I'm wearing. And
it's funny how women often buy so many different pairs of shoes, and when they end up homeless, all that shit gets thrown out. It's not unnormal for a woman to have something like 100 pairs of shoes, and any other woman can relate to another woman and say, "Oh yeah, 100 pairs of shoes is totally normal." And those 100 pairs of shoes that she has are, that's equivalent to thousands of dollars in shoes. Thousands of dollars in shoes. If she has 100 pairs of shoes, that's equivalent to thousands of dollars in shoes. Many of those shoes will have cost $100 or more a piece, even if it's $50 or $30 a pair. Again, that's equivalent to thousands of dollars in shoes. Women spend so much money on shoes, it's ridiculous. And when they end up homeless, they have nowhere to put their stuff. They have nowhere to go. They literally run out of all options. You can't feel sorry for them because they buy so much junk, so many accessories. And now look at this woman. She only has 2 pairs of shoes.
those, but if I get any more, that's where they will go. This is my rain jacket. This is a rubbish bag, so because I'm normally spending my time on the back seat, so if I've got like tissues or wrappers, they just kind of get thrown in here. Move it out of the way. And behind my heater is my battery pack and my inverter should I need them. Not something I use all the time, but I keep them there just in case. And also underneath my rain jacket is just a fluffy pink top that's really useful for keeping warm.
So it's funny because that's another point, that that when you live in a car, you are very liable to end up in cases where the battery dies and you may need a jump start. You may end up in cases where you get a flat tire and and it's not pretty. I mean, guys, when you live in your car becomes your central focal point, a base of operation, and you can literally lose everything if you lose your car. You lose your car, well, you've just lost it all. You've lost your car, you've lost everything. I mean, man, you guys have to realize car living isn't what it's cracked up to be. There's a lot of people who say, "Oh, I lived in my car. It wasn't that bad." Anybody can live in their car. It's not so bad. In fact, I'm living in my car right now. Living in no, 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 bro. Living in your car is a miserable thing. I've been there. It sucks. And if you look at the way this woman is dressed, you can actually. It's like you can smell. She doesn't look very tidy. And that's not to insult her, that's not to degrade her, but just looking at her hair is a mess. Her face, there is no makeup on that face. In fact, and her face is very unkept. Uh, Her clothing that she claims are clean clothing, they look filthy. Some of her clothes look filthy. Filthy, filthy, filthy. Okay? And this is the type of lifestyle that some people say, "Oh, I could do it." It doesn't matter if you could do it. It's why would you want to do it? That's no way to live. That's no way to fucking live. And guys, I'm realizing that because today is Sunday in the US and at the time of making this video it's Super Bowl Sunday, my analytics, I want to say my earnings are going to be down today, but so many people probably hate the Super Bowl these days. I shouldn't even worry about it. Anyway, when I think about how miserable car living actually is, I just have to think about how psychotic these people are in general. I mean, I live right now, I don't have a very big place. I'm moving soon, and I'll be moving into a much, much, much bigger apartment. I live in a tiny studio. I live in a tiny studio right now. Like, when I say tiny, I mean tiny. I live in a tiny studio, and I do it what I can. And even for me, it's not enough space. Like, I've tried to, like, have, get smaller. Yeah, I try to have as little as possible. Be a minimalist. And there just comes a point where you realize, yeah, you can only push minimalism so far. You can only push minimalism so far. I mean, I remember there was a video I made with with this woman, Kath. I think her name was like Kathleen. She was living in her car, and she had so much shit. I mean, we're talking about chairs, tables, all kinds of shit. She had so much shit in her car, guys. I would wager you that she had practically as much shit as I do. When you really think about it, I mean, she had a bed, she had a mattress in her car, okay? She had a table, she had a chair, she had multiple pieces of clothing in a tiny car. She had a cooler where she stored tons of things. I mean, her cooler is practically equivalent to my fridge, and what it can hold, more or less. Hell, her cooler might have actually been able to hold more than my current fridge, my small fridge. I mean, the only thing that I had that she did not have was I have a humidifier that I don't use, a television, and a fan. And for all I know, she might have snuck a fan in there as well. Okay, but aside from those things, like, she had like practically as much stuff as I do. When I think she had a computer as well. She had a computer as well. She had a computer as well. I mean, you can only push minimalism so far, and minimalism is not as what it's really cracked up to be. I mean, I love living the minimalist life, but being a minimalist doesn't mean living a lower quality of life. You become a minimalist so that you kind of reduce the number of decisions that you have to make in your life, having to deal with this and clean this and move this. Reduce the number of clothing choices so that you can just focus on important things in your life. Again, that's the key. That's the great thing about minimalism, but it's not about being a bum. Minimalism has nothing to do with being a bum. It has nothing to do with wearing, dirty clothing. It has nothing to do with living a lower standard of life. I want to make that very clear. Minimalism has nothing to do with that. And when you look at the way that this woman is living, this is a really difficult way of living. This is not the way that anyone would really want to live. I mean, she's living in this very small car, and she has things strung out left and right, and it highlights the danger as you look at this battery pack in the image. As the video's paused, you can see that the car could break down. If the car breaks down, then she has to jump start it, and that's an issue. Or the transmission could go, or it could run out of oil. Again, you have to make sure that there's always enough oil in there. You always have to make sure that you have enough gas. If anything happens to the car, well, for example, anything happens to the car, it has to go to the mechanic. If the car goes to the mechanic, what happens to all your shit? I mean, like, it's kind of sad when you have to bring your car to the mechanic and leave your car with the mechanic and say, "Hey, everything I own is in the car." And then what are you going to do during the time that your car is in the shop? Because it's going to take a few days, and a lot of times mechanics actually need to go inside of the actual car itself to, maybe go in the glove box, or there's different things they have to do inside of the actual vehicle itself. Sometimes it's not always external. There's also going to be the smell. There might even be some mechanics who may even refuse to actually work on the vehicle because you have so many things of value in there that they don't want you to actually say that they stole any of them. So they may require that you take all that shit out while they're working on the vehicle, or they may refuse to work on it at all because it may be too much trouble for them. A lot of times people will say, you know what, I don't want to get mixed up in this scene, especially if, I'm sorry that your life isn't going so well for you, but I don't want to get my hands dirty on it, especially if it means you may not even be able to pay me. Again, living in your car is a very, very serious thing that can limit your quality of life, and it can also change the way people look at you. I looked at this one video with, from this cute chick, Hobo Ale, and I showed you guys the video. She was really pretty, and some people were saying this can't be real. No, she really lived in her car. She really lived in her car. And the fucked up thing that guys don't understand is that women can get away with it because they're women, and they can say, well, oh, she's a cute girl, I'll take her in like a puppy. But when it comes to a guy, no one really cares if you live or you die in your car. No one cares if a man lives or dies in his car, and that's what people have to really come to realize. Like, as men, we don't want to live this way, and women living this way, they are going to pay a major price living this way, because most of them will not make it out there living in their cars. And that's for the few that'll actually have cars, because a lot of them are going to have their cars repoed, and not everyone has a car these days.
Should I need it. So that is the back of the car. I try and keep it as tidy as possible. I'm not really one for mess, but you can't really have things in a perfect way. I mean, look at this. This is bothering me here. It has to go live in its little home just there. So yeah, that's how I set up the back of my car. Let's move on to the inside. It's the back seat of my car, as you can see. So down here, it's just where I keep my sleeping bag. I also put my pyjamas here so that I don't have to scramble about looking for them at night. I've currently got my laptop here just because I'm sat chilling out, and the bag gets placed elsewhere, obviously during the day. I've got my bottle of Coke down there, just to have on hand when I'm getting thirsty.
Guys, do you see that? Do you see that little blue thing at the bottom? That little blue bucket or basin, whatever. I think it's a basin. That little thing. Do you see that? Guys, that's probably what she pisses in or shits in. Think about it very carefully. That may very well be what she takes a piss or a shit in. Because I remember in another video, this woman showed the bucket that she shits in, and that bucket, that thing, may very well be what she takes a piss or a shit in. This is the car, and and if you think about it carefully, if you look at its placement, it's very likely that she may be using it inside the actual car itself when it's cold or when she doesn't want to step outside. That's no way to live. That is horrible living, guys. That is downright horrible and sickening living. That just makes my stomach churn. Oh my gosh.
I'm washing up bowl to wash out things like mugs and cups, which I do use on the road on occasion. Those are the gloves I was talking about in my winter essentials video, just kind of sticking out there. It's literally so if I wake up and I'm cold, I can just put them on. These are my pillows. I actually have 3 pillows in here just to make it really comfortable. I leave those there 99% of the time. No one's ever asked me why I have pillows in the back of my car. If I did, I would just say they're from like a camping trip or something, so they didn't think I was completely crazy. Okay, so if we, importantly, here is the library. Basically just a selection of magazines I keep around to read, including the TV guides.
Wait a minute. I thought her library was in the side door. So this is this the extended library? Because there was a library of books in the side door. So her library is that's the extended library, and there's her laptop below that. Guys, I want you to notice something very carefully. That this is not the type of car that you can casually just like lay flat in. You're not gonna lay flat in this car. I don't know how she's pulling this off. She's probably sleeping in one of the passenger chairs. This is not the kind of car that you're just going to lay flat in. This is the type of living that these modern women are encountering. Seriously. This is no way to live. And I mean, could you imagine having a daughter and finding out that she was living this way? But women have brought this onto themselves.
Right, thinking, well, you didn't have a TV. Why do you have a TV, guys? Well, that's easy. It's so that I know what to watch on catch up when I've got Wi-Fi. Excuse that bit of paper under the wheel. I've no idea where that came from. Okay, so driver's side and passenger side at the front. So I'll just step in here. Okay, so this is where I keep my kind of tea and coffee facilities. I kind of refer to this area as my kitchen. Oh, and Sailor Moon, hey ho. Yeah, this is kind of like my kitchen area. This is where I make drinks. It's also where I eat, just so I can keep it separate from where I'm sleeping. So yeah, let me just pan across. So on the seat I've got my pillow, just because I don't know, I like it being there. It's a pretty cool pillow. Needs a bit of a wash, but it's like a Ouija board print, which I thought was pretty fun. So I'll just pop that. Oh no, it's got.
What the fuck? A Ouija board? Oh my gosh. A Ouija board. A Ouija board. Guys, if you see this woman, stay the fuck away from her.
Out the car, it's out the car. Never mind. So I've got yet another bottle of water here. My day pack with my stuff in it. In this orange bag down here I have food, and by food I mean meal replacements. I'm currently doing a meal replacement diet to lose a little bit of weight, so that's where I keep all that stuff. And this is my visor that I put up here during the night, just to kind of block out the oncoming headlights while I am sleeping.
So I brought it up earlier in the video that why was she doing this video at the side of the road unless she lived at the side of the road? And guys, she basically says that she puts the visor up to block out the incoming headlights during nighttime, which means that she's parking at the side of the road. What the fuck? Who does this? I mean, like, I just don't get it. Do you live in some backcountry road? This is very, very odd. This is very, very odd. And I could have sworn she mentioned having a job earlier in the video. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I misheard. But I am absolutely scratching my head on this. So she sleeps on the road. She sleeps literally. She parks her car to the side of the road. You can see there's another car in front of her. She parks her car to the side of the road. And she sleeps at this way. And this is not a residential neighborhood. This is like a highway. What the hell are we looking at?
What else? In here I keep my USB charger that I pop in the cigarette lighter, just there. So it just lives there. Sunglasses, because you never know. And in here, which is quite a handy feature of this car, if I pop this up, this is where I keep my milk and sweeteners when I'm making tea and coffee. So literally I sit in the driver's seat, I plug my water heater or kettle into here, coffee gets made here, milk and sweetener added from here. It's pretty simple. And same with food. If I'm making up meal replacement shakes, just grab one out of that bag, add the water, and you can see the shaker, I think, just, yeah, that's the shaker there. Shake it up and just gets left on the sort of dashboard. Then I rinse it out when I am back at work. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Just gonna take you around just so you can see what it looks like from this angle.
Okay, so we can tell how she sleeps now. So she has pillows in the back of the car, and she sleeps in the back of the car with her feet to the door. Oh my gosh. And I'm not saying, I can't say that she's an extremely tall woman, but you don't have to be extremely tall to know that this is a very uncomfortable way of sleeping. I am I am just in shock. I am just in shock. I mean, if you look at her eyes in the original, her eyes look like they're popping out of her head. So I question how much the quality of the sleep that she's actually been getting. And again, she's not a dread. She's not a person who's getting dreadlocks. Her hair is just becoming completely, it's just starting to stick together because she's no longer taking care of it. Oh my gosh. This is just a horrible video to watch. So let's keep watching.
I keep my sort of toiletries that I use on a day-to-day basis.
You've got to be kidding me. So she has her toiletries up there. Oh my gosh. This is something else. Like this is really something else. I honestly can't wait to see what happens because Trump is not making, he's not going to make the lives of women easier. Everything's going to get a lot more expensive. I can say that right now. Prices are going to go up on a lot of things. You can already see that. Prices aren't going to go down, they're going to go up on their Trump. Prices are going to go up substantially for many things under Trump. They're going to turn around and they're going to blame Trump for it, when in reality, this is the direction things have been headed in for a long time. And government subsidizations were really just taking away money from honest people earning it and putting it into the pockets of people who don't want to work or people who make up excuses for everything. And like I said, we're going to have a lot of women lining off the streets, living on the streets, who can't survive, who can't really do anything. And, car living is going to be the best. That's going to be the best of it for them because many of them are not going to have cars to live in. I mean, this is a horrible way to live. But I mean, it still beats probably being completely homeless and having absolutely nowhere to sleep. Because I mean, like, when I was homeless, I'll tell you something I learned about being homeless. Cardboard box is a luxury. When you are homeless, cardboard box is a luxury. There are other homeless people that would steal your cardboard because cardboard, once you sleep, cardboard is so soft. I know you guys are going to say cardboard is soft. It is a lot softer than concrete. Cardboard is a lot softer than concrete. I remember sleeping on concrete, and I would sleep on concrete literally every day. I would just like put like have like a sheet, and I'd put down a sheet, and then I would just basically sleep on the sheet. I didn't have a pillow. I didn't have anything. I just slept that way, and you know, it was funny because you could, if you got a piece of cardboard, people were like, you were like the talk of the town. Like, wow, you have a piece of cardboard to sleep on. Oh, aren't you a high roller? Look at you, you high roller. Look at you feeling big. You big shot. With you and your piece of cardboard. I I mean, guys, it's not fun. this shit's not fun. Women are about to enter a new age of that. This is going to be like the Great Depression for women, and many of them are not going to casually come out of it. Some of them are going to end up in jail. A lot of them are going to end up in jail because of the things they're going to do when they're on the streets. Because let me tell you a little thing about hunger. When a person becomes hungry, they start, you can, there's a lot of things that happen. One of the things that can happen when you become hungry is mental illness. You can become deranged, you can start to lose your mind, you can start to, when you're hungry, when you're tired, when you're unkept, you haven't showered, you feel like shit, your body, everything starts to go. When this stuff happens, it can have a major toll on you. It can really fuck with your mind, it can fuck with your body, it can fuck with your quality of life. It definitely fucks with your sleep because you're constantly getting up. You can't get a good night of sleep. I mean, it's a day-to-day thing. It's no way to live. And for a lot of women, that's the future for them, is going into a situation where they won't have a place to sleep, or they won't have a quality place to sleep, they won't have a quality place to live. They're heading into a really miserable age. I mean, just living in your car like this is horrible, and this is going to be as good as it gets for them, because many women don't even have a car, or they don't have a car that they've paid off. The average woman has very few resources, very little resources of any value. I'll tell you something funny about these female doctors. I'll give you a good example with a dentist. When I worked in finance, I was working in insurance. There was a dentist who called in. She was her dental office. She was the only dentist in that office. She owned the business, and she calls me up and she goes, "You have to help me." And I'm thinking to myself, she's like, she's talking to the guy who handles her insurance, and she hasn't been paying her insurance. And she says, "You have to help me." And I'm thinking to myself, I look at her tax returns, because I have her tax returns. I have all of that information. So I have her tax returns. I have all of her information from the federal government. And the job that I used to have, it required a lot of security clearance, because we handle government contracts. So I'll give you an example. I could potentially have known exactly how much money Bill Gates made last year. I could have potentially seen Bill Gates' tax returns. That was the job that I had. I could have looked at all of his information. I could have known his duties. I could have known a lot of intimate information about Bill Gates. And I was looking at I was looking at the tax returns, the income earnings, the business operations of this woman, and she was making about $500,000. She sounded like she was in her 20s, late 20s, maybe in her early 30s. Early 30s. She sounded young. And I should have probably just looked at her return to see her age. And what was really weird about the whole situation, was like, I could tell that she was underpaying her employees. She was claiming that she wasn't making a lot of money per year. And then when I looked at her tax returns, I could see what she was doing. All the money that was coming into the business, she was essentially spending it, all of it, all of it. So for example, usually when you run a business, if you're a CEO of a company, you pay yourself a salary, and then a certain portion of the money goes back into the business. In other words, it's called budgeting. The way her business operated was like this. She had a secretary. She had people who cleaned for her, like a cleaning lady, and they were being underpaid. I think she had two different people working for her, because she didn't want to give either of them full-time hours, because if she gave them full-time hours, then she would have to actually give them benefits. So what she did was she broke up the job into two jobs. This is how sickening some of these people were. She had two people working for her at different days and different hours. This way she could pay them. She wouldn't have to give them full-time hours and also give them health insurance and all the other shit. And she did that, and she was underpaying them, giving these people like $10 an hour, and the actual amounts they were earning was very small. We're talking about like between 18 and 20 something thousand a year, very small amounts, while her business was taking in over $500,000 a year. She tried to say to me like, she was pretending like she was actually paying like out of the ass for all these expenses. And I was just like doing the basic math, like, okay, your practice can't cost more than a few $1,000s to for your office per month. I mean, what are you paying, $24,000 a year for your biz to keep your practice open? I just don't see it. She was burning out all of the money, pretty much any money that wasn't going into the hands of her employees, which is like, let's say her employees, between her employees and the cleaning staff were getting, let's say, maybe 40 to $50,000 a year. She was pocketing about $500,000 a year. She was pocketing about $500,000 a year, guys, and she was burning through all of the cash, all of it, all of it. So when she called me, she had like no money left. She was spending everything. And she had a house in like Malibu. It was like some crazy shit. And she had no money. Like, she was burning through everything that she got. All the money that she got from the business, she was burning through it. Spending it, and I knew what she was spending it on. She's spending it on trips. She's spending it on cars. She's spending it on accessories, clothing, as much junk as she possibly could acquire, to the point where she was making $500,000 a year, and she had very little to show for it. Very, very little to show for it. And then she's saying to me, "You've got to help me." And I'm thinking to myself, you're going to jail. I'm looking at her tax returns, and I'm thinking to myself, you're going to jail. You want me to help you? You're going to jail. I can like look at these and think, you're going to jail. You're going to jail, because like, you're not paying your taxes properly. You're not paying your taxes. You're not even paying your employees. You're going to jail. You want me to help you? You need to pray. So again, I give you guys that story because I want you to understand that it doesn't matter if a woman's even a doctor making $500,000 a year, or a dentist in the medical field making $500,000 a year. They are still spending money like psychopaths. They are still spending money like insane people. All they do is spend, 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 spend. It's downright sickening. So don't think, there's a lot of female doctors today. Tons of them. And they don't have anything to show for themselves. Nothing to show for themselves. They're doctors for 10, 20 years. They have nothing to show for themselves. Nothing to show for themselves. I remember when I was in college, one of my friends, his mother was a doctor. And he constantly got a really bad attitude with us whenever we brought up the fact that his mother was a doctor making around $200,000 a year. And he would get a nasty attitude about it because his family was so poor because of their spending habits. His mother would spend money on, like, her spending was just ridiculous. She did not know how to budget. She did not know how to spend properly. You make $200,000 a year. You make more money. You make more money than like the average person. Like, a lot of people, like, you're making the income of 4 or more people combined, and you are flat broke, and you have like 2 kids and you're flat broke. And he's constantly making up excuses for his mother. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the reason why you're like this. Because you're raised by this mother who doesn't know how to budget properly. She doesn't know how to budget. She's making this much money and you guys are living this way, and you're blaming everyone else for your problems but you. Guys, how the fuck does your mother make $200,000 a year and you guys live in shit? I'm sorry when I'm coming kind of heated about it because it would just piss me off. Like, your mother makes this much money and you guys are living like paupers and acting like you're poor? No, your mother is an idiot. Your mother is a fucking idiot. Your mom's a fucking idiot, bro. Your mom's a fucking idiot. She's burning all of the money. She's spending it on shit that you guys don't need. She doesn't know how to budget. Your mom's a fucking idiot. I had to get that off my chest because it bothered me for so many years. that's why I say, like, these women, you're gonna find doctors. There are going to be doctors. They're going to be lawyers who made tons of money over their careers. They're gonna be all these so-called educated women who made shitloads of money. Business women who made shitloads of money in marketing and whatever, who lose their jobs in this new economy, in this new Trump economy, and they're going to be homeless with nothing to show for it. I remember going to the bank recently, not recently, but about maybe a year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I don't remember. And there was this woman at the bank, and she just started talking to me about her life and things that were happening. And, she started telling me that at one point in her life, she was making something like $50 or $60 an hour in the 90s, and now things are really bad. And now she's making only like $15 an hour. And I'm thinking to myself, where did all the money go, though? You were making $50, $60 an hour in the 90s. You're now like in your 50s. Where did all the money go? You want to tell me that you didn't save any of that money? You want to tell me that you couldn't have used any of that money to start a business, to do something productive with your life? You want sympathy right now? At this point in your life, when you had this many opportunities, when you were making I think she said $60 an hour. How the fuck were you making $60 an hour in the 90s, and now you're like you're almost just like a glorified bank teller? Where did all the money go? Where the fuck did all the money go? These women are such a nuisance. And then they want men to help them and save them in the end after they fuck up their lives entirely and have nothing to show for it. It's a disgrace. And it's a continuing downward spiral that we're seeing with these women. I'm looking at the comments. Rastafari Dante said, $46,000 my mom earned when I was in my teens. I had to eat packets of ramen noodles every day while she bought a brand new car, cash down every year. Guys, some people ask, why do I pause so often in these videos? I'm not a machine. I kind of operate like a machine, but I'm not a machine. You see this stuff and it kind of just gets to you. Like, what the fuck are we watching? What the fuck is happening in our society? These women are psychos. They are psychotic. They are psychopaths. Spending like this? I remember this story that this one guy, Yan Ling, you've probably seen him in the chats a few times, told about his model wife, where he basically was paying for all her bills while she made hundreds of thousands of dollars as a model and spent all of it on useless shit, vacations, trips, shoes, clothing, all kinds of useless shit that had no redeemable value. I've told you guys the story multiple times about my mother purchasing a $9,000 dining room table. A $9,000 dining room table. $9,000! That was just one of her many pieces of gem. One of her many gems. And I'll tell you something else. My mother would always complain that she had nothing for herself, and that because she had so many children, we took everything from her, and she could only buy a dress, a new dress every so often. When I got older, I started asking questions. Now in my 30s, I started asking these questions. But wait a minute, why did you need a $500 dress? You could only buy yourself a new $500 dress. You could only buy yourself a new $1,000 dress. Yes, you heard me, a $1,000 dress. You could only buy yourself a new $1,000 dress every so often. I'm so sorry, Mom, that we're fucking up your life so much that you can only afford to buy one new $1,000 dress every so often. $1,000 dress. Guys, a $1,000 dress in the fucking 90s. That was my mother. I have to pause and catch my breath every so often and sigh a little bit, because if I don't, I think my head will explode. Because when you ponder just how psychotic, how ridiculous these women are, how toxic these women are, how damaging to society these women are, it just gets to you. It just gets to me, at least, because I have to constantly go over this. I have to constantly look at these videos and just say, what the fuck are these people thinking? This isn't cool. This isn't cute. This is just downright deplorable. Let's get back to this video. Let's get back to the video.
So I've got my face cleanser, cotton wool, deodorant, obviously toothbrush, toothpaste, moisturiser, hair bits and bobs. These cargo nets, there's one on the other side, I'll show you. I sometimes put my phone or things in there at night that I might need access to. These cargo nets are super handy because it means I wake up in the morning, I can literally just get ready from the comfort of where I've been asleep. So it's really, really useful. And it just means I don't have to keep everything in the back of my car. Oh, and if you're thinking where are all your kind of like shower things, I keep those at work because I do have a shower at work. Things like shower gel, face wash, all that kind of good stuff. That all lives in my kind of cupboard at work. Again, just to make use of additional storage space that I have there. Just to show you what things look like from my perspective when I'm in here of an evening getting ready.
So she showers at work. She showers at work. Okay. Wow. Didn't I talk to you guys about this? How women like to use the resources of everyone else, basically. And like I said, just look how she looks. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be insulting. But you can see that her eyebrows aren't done. Her face doesn't. She's not wearing any makeup. Her hair is so unkept. Her hair is so unkept that it's sticking together. Oh my gosh. All I can do is shake my head. And this is the future for many women, if not, and much worse.
For bed, I thought I would just film. So I'm in the back of my car. Here's the pillows for the proof. I'm just going to flip the camera around just to show you how this setup works from this perspective. Okay, so this is the kind of view that I have out of my window. And this is the kind of space that I have. It's actually more comfortable than it looks. I can sleep on these seats very easily. I know I said in my older video about not sleeping across seats, but this car, you know, it's quite high end, it's quite high spec, so I found it's actually quite comfortable to do it this way. So yeah, so I'm sat here.
She's talking about how comfortable it is to sleep this way. Do you guys not notice that her foot is like bent? Her foot is completely bent, so she's not so short that she's able to pull this off. Her foot is completely bent, so she's like literally like she's literally like crutching her body together, like putting her legs down to her near to her chest to sleep at night. Like this is, she calls this comfortable. This car is very comfortable. There's plenty of space. She calls this, look at how her feet are situated, and she calls this incredible. Wow. And this car is quite high end.
I've got easy access to my magazines, access to my gloves or anything else I want to pop in there. I've got a drink on the floor, I've got my laptop. So yeah, it's pretty comfortable. And in terms of in the morning, you know, I wake up, I want to make coffee. All I have to do, I leave my water heater out at night. I literally just lean across, plug it in, sit back here while it boils, grab the coffee, put the coffee on there, and that's it. You know, it's as easy as I can possibly make it whilst living in a car.
I just love how she puts Sailor Moon on the dashboard to make it more like homely, like that's her poster, like a poster. She's living in a Land Rover, evidently. You can see it says Land Rover. And she's like, oh, this, you know, it's funny. She probably spent so much money on that car. That's one of the reasons why she doesn't even have a place to live right now. That could be the reason why she's living in her car, because she spent all her money on the car, and it'll probably still end up getting repoed in the end.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the tour of my car. This is how I set my car up. There are many, many ways that you can do it, depending on the kind of car you have, the kind of person that you are. I've seen some really great videos on here of how people set up their cars. I think my favourite is the Hotel Prius video, the guy living out of Prius. Sadly, there's only 2 videos on his whole channel. One is the materials you need to live out of Prius, and the second one is how to set it up. But it is pretty ingenious. So if you've got a smaller car and you're looking for ideas on how to set it up for living, I would definitely check that one out. I will pop it in the links down below. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. If you have any comments or questions about my car setup or anything else about living in your car, leave them down below and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching. Bye.
What the fuck did we just watch? What the fuck did we just watch? That was downright sickening, deplorable. I mean, gosh, I can't say enough unsavory things about that, about what we've just witnessed. And I've said again, this is the future for modern women. Women have made their beds. They've burnt every bridge, and now they're headed to a one-stop shop of living the homeless life. This is not a joke. This is the truth, and this is something that we have to be well aware of. By the way, guys, we hit 144 viewers today, which, as far as I'm aware of, that's the most viewers I've ever had on a podcast at any given time. So that is just incredible. Modern women have lost their minds. And I want to know if you guys agree that the future for modern women is going to be not only living in their cars, but the vast majority of them are going to end up simply homeless, without a place to live, a roof over their heads, and really any options. That's the future for most modern women. I also want to remind you guys that that I make 3 of these videos every single day, so please consider going over to my YouTube homepage or looking for the link in the description of this video, clicking on it to get to my Patreon. When you go to my Patreon, you can leave a donation via my Patreon. It's very important. I make 3 of these videos a day plus bonus videos, and this will ensure I can continue to put out more quality content. So if you like these videos, go and donate. Each of you can donate $5. Even if you're not making a lot of money, you can afford $5, dude. Head over to my Patreon and leave a donation via my Patreon. Become a Patreon, support this channel if you want to see more videos like this. Also, never miss another video from me by enabling notifications. And there's a lot of people who've been getting unsubscribed from my channel, and I know you get pissed off with that. Don't have that problem anymore by enabling notifications. This will prevent you from getting unsubscribed, and whenever I put out a new video or whenever I'm streaming, it'll also send you a notification. Enable notifications by clicking on the notification bell and right next to the subscribe button below any video on my channel, and then you'll see a pop that says send me all notifications for this channel. Just make sure to click the little box, hit save. If you've already done it, you don't have to do it again. This will make sure you always receive a notification whenever I'm live streaming or whenever I put out a brand new video. So let me know if you agree that modern women have lost their minds and they will be living out of their cars or are homeless. I made the correlation. I made the statement that a lot of women are going to be living in FEMA camps because they won't have anything of value. They won't have anywhere to go. And it's literally going to be one of those shit hits the fan situations. And men are not going to bail them out when as Donald Trump is cutting everything. We haven't even seen the true ramifications of Donald Trump's actions yet. We haven't actually seen the real ramifications of what's going to happen as a result of Trump's presidency. I mean, he's made it very clear that he's going to be cutting Section 8. He's going to be cutting food stamps. He's going to be cutting welfare. He's going to be cutting WIC. He's going to be cutting all these programs. They're changing the tax laws so that single people can no longer file as heads of households. So it doesn't matter if you have children or not. If you're a single person, you will no longer be allowed to file as the head of a household. So single mothers will no longer be able to file as heads of households and collect They'll no longer be able to claim their kids on their tax returns. Think about how prominent that will be, guys. That single mothers will no longer be able to claim their kids on their tax returns, as you know, by saying that they're heads of households, because that's a big deal. That is a huge deal, because by them no longer being able to claim their kids on their tax returns, that ultimately means that that's less government money going in their pockets. There's so many women who get $10,000 back from the government, and they don't even work. They don't even work. They don't even have a job, and they're getting tax returns of $10,000, which is way more than the average person that's suffering and working their asses off. That shit is about to come to an end. They won't be getting money from the government. They won't be getting money for food stamps. They won't be getting money for WIC. They won't be getting money for Section 8. Ben Carson, they're working hard to keep this guy out because he's going to cut all of that shit as soon as he gets in. He says that basically what we need is tough love, and handouts are coming to an end. I mean, even in the education system, the liberals are going absolutely insane over Trump's pick for the they're going insane over Trump's pick for education secretary. She's a billionaire woman, and she's advocating for private universities, private schools, vouchers and things along with those lines. And you have to realize that these are the type of people, conservative people, especially conservative women, who don't favor handouts. They're going to start cutting a lot of the fundings that these liberal women enjoy, especially for these gender studies programs. I mean, there's massive cuts coming. Women are no longer going to be able to retreat into universities, into programs, or get government entitlements and handouts the way they were before. And the loss of these entitlements are going to make a big difference. Don't forget that women today make up the vast majority of college students, and yet they're carrying massive amounts of student loans. I mean, the average college student has over $40,000 in student debts, and they're not able to pay that back. Those student debts are going to come back and bite them in the ass. They'll never be able to pay off those loans. I said the average. I didn't say that's the most. The average is $40,000. It's over $40,000 in student loans. So I mean, hell on earth is coming for these women. They're going to be essentially slaves to the government for the rest of their lives, and there's not going to be any help in sight. And as I said, they're going to say, "Men, help us." When shit hits the fan, they're going to say, "Men, help us, save us from the government," and there's going to be a resounding silence. I want to know if you guys agree with this, that modern women have lost their minds, they've made their beds, and they're going to have to lay in them as shit hits the fan, and they lose entitlements, options, freedoms, and all the privileges that all the privileges they worked so hard to steal and pillage. They're going to not help them anymore, as they're going to vanish, and men are not going to come to their aid, especially with their bad attitudes. Let me know if you agree in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, definitely go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and just remember that you can make a donation via Patreon. Yes, I am pushing my Patreon really hard. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MGTOW or death. And cheers.